Breaking news in the NASCAR garage area. Like I always say, NASCAR is the gift that just keeps giving. You know, I should have waited a little longer on Wednesday morning with Coffee with Kenny. If I'd have waited till Wednesday night, I'd have had the big juicy news. All right, here we go. As reported by Bob Pockrass, that's who I'm choosing because Bob's my buddy, and all the NASCAR media. The story's everywhere, but let me debull for you. So we go to Daytona for the Daytona 500, and you got Austin Cindric and Chase Briscoe on the front row. So Chase Briscoe, front row pole, on the pole, quick time. On his outside, Austin Cindric, right? So, it's pretty incredible story just because two guys that are good, but, looking to be better, right? Let's just put it this way. Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, they are not Kyle Larson. It's a feel-good story, right? They run this Daytona 500. Austin Cindric, he's leading. He runs good. And just like everybody says, we listen to Denny Hamlin on Actions Detrimental. Denny says, listen, I like drafting with Austin Cindric because he's got the speedways figured out. Austin Cindric is mentally smart, right? So he knows how to draft. So Austin's sitting there. He's leading this thing. Where's Chase Briscoe, our pole sitter? Well, Chase shows up later. Last couple laps, he had a wreck, but Chase Briscoe's car, it's really fast. So Chase Briscoe gets himself a top 5. Herman, where are you going with all this? Painting the story for you, right? So the Daytona 500 is over, and all the media says, all clear, all good. William Byron, your winner. Well, what they didn't tell us, and this is very important, what they didn't tell us was they took Austin Cindric's car and Chase Briscoe's car back to the Research and Development Center in NASCAR after the Daytona 500. We didn't know this. Well, why did they take those cars back to the Research and Development Center? Well, because they sat on the front row of the Daytona 500, as reported by my dear friend Bob Pockrass. Now, here's where the story gets juicy, right? You always hear of this one source part. In other words, if you're going to get this part, you can only get it from here. They call it a single source part. Single source means you can only get it from here and that's it. They're saying that the area that Chase Briscoe's spoiler bolted to had been messed with. No, I don't want to hear it, everybody. I'm telling you what Bob Pockrass's article said. So you say all you want to say. All I'm doing, remember, I'm just telling you what's happening, and I'm debullshitting it all for you. I don't get into and all that, right? I don't do all that. You guys do that. I'm just telling you that they sat on the front row. They were quick. They showed up at the end of the race. But why did they take the cars back to the Research and Development Center? Because they were on the front row. That's it. They were on the front row. This is a way for NASCAR to keep an eye. Listen, they've been doing it for years. They do it with motors, right? They've been doing it with motors. Hell, they took my brother Rusty's motor out there at Sears Point. 96 something, whatever it was. They took Rusty's motor at Sears Point. He sat on like his 10th pole, right? And they were getting tired of Rusty and Team Penske setting quick time. 10 poles that year. NASCAR said, pull the motor out, made them pull the motor out, and made them take it apart on the asphalt in front of all their competitors. And what they found out, that Rusty wasn't cheating at all, but Penske had made some very light rotating rods and pistons, and they were able to turn about 10,000 RPMs. When everybody else is sitting there, scratching her head to turn 8,000 RPMs. So NASCAR's been doing this for a long time. I mean, they're making it to where their cars are almost tied now. We've been doing this to keep an eye on the competition and see what's going on. So they take those cars back. You know what's funny is although they inspected William Byron's car, they didn't go back to the research development team. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is this is big. So here we are 5 minutes into this deal. I de-bullshit it all for you. I tell you why they do it. Now you respond right here. But here's the breaking news in the garage area right here. I want to get into what was going on at Joe Gibbs Racing. I want to go inside the shop. I want to go, okay, crew chief, what made you do this? And I'm sure they got a reason. They're competitors. I don't blame nobody on cheating. I think cheating's awesome because it makes for good storylines. Did you hear what that son of a did? He took it. That ain't nothing though. Listen, all the guys in the past, they will agree with me. You go back in the 90s and early 2000s, anybody that was up front at Daytona, they was cheating their asses off. They'd cheat those deck lids up. They'd cheat them air cleaners in. Hell, even Sterling Marlin and old, was that Runt? He was a motor builder. Hell, they were sucking air through so you got the valve, or you got the valve covers, right? Well, you put the valve cover on, you can put bolts in, but they had studs. They were sucking air through the studs. And the way they were getting through tech inspection is they were melting candle wax in the studs. But when they'd get on the racetrack, the motor would get hot and the candle wax would melt. And then, you had the restrictor plate, right? Well, only so much air would go through the restrictor plate. Well, how are we going to get more air inside the motor? Well, once that candle wax inside those valve cover studs, it would melt. Now you're sucking air through those studs. So now you got way more air. And Sterling and Jimmy Spencer and all that, hell, they was cheating their ass off. Spencer would tell me, he said, Herman, when who was it? It was Ernie? Somebody in the Texaco Haviland car. Remember that race? Jimmy Spencer in the Winston or the Camel car? And Jimmy Spencer was side by side with the Texaco Haviland car. I think it was for the 4th of July race. Spence told me, I knew he was cheating, so I knew they was cheating. So cheating been going on a long time. It's good stuff. It's juicy. And as far as you go, you shouldn't cheat. People, come on. You're not a competitor. You're not. Hey, Roger Penske doesn't allow cheating, but they've been caught cheating because, their crew chiefs have decided to do something, this or that. Now, nobody's angels. So the bottom line is this: $100,000 fine for the team or whoever, another $100,000 fine for the crew chief. That's $200,000. And the crew chief is suspended for 4 weeks. I'm sure they're going to appeal it because you know the way that goes. They're going to appeal it. But still, they announced it. So the damage is done. But man, that takes Chase Briscoe from top 10 in the points down to like last. Woo! Chase Briscoe is going to have to win a race to dig out of this one. 100-point penalty for everything, car owner and driver. So, bad deal. All right, everybody, listen, I think I broke it down for you. Respond right here. Tell me why you're so much smarter than me and you're better than everybody. Hey, Herman, what are you doing? Can't you see I'm kicking my ass? I got to get you before you get me because I know you're going to respond how you know everything. All right, I told you everything. All right, everybody, till the next time. Ding, 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 ding.